Oh yes, good morning once again, and thank you for keeping it to Church of Uganda Family TV. This is Issues at Hand, and I want to welcome you to today's episode here on Wednesday morning. Well, today we shall be discussing matters of inclusivity, but specifically we shall be talking about the day that is yet to come around on June 13th, where we shall be celebrating the International Albinism Awareness Day 2025. So in that regard, we have a number of people that are going to be taking us through this discussion, but also we shall be able to see the role of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development in promoting equity and the rights of persons with disabilities in general. And of course, I understand you and I have a very crucial role as well to play in this, though as we are being overseen by the ministry in this regard, the government. Well, my guests are ready to make sure that they deliver what you would expect them to deliver, and I request, by the way, that you pay keen attention as we uncover today's discussion. Just besides me is Olivia Namutebi, who is the Executive Director of Albinism Umbrella of Uganda. Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. Thank you, Luke. Well, please, you can greet our people out there. Good morning, our viewers. I'm happy to be at Family TV and to talk about a topic I'm passionate about. Wow, that's great. And it's a pleasure once again to have Mr. Patrick Menya here representing the ministry. Good morning.
Good morning, viewer. It is a pleasure once again to be here, to be hosted on Church of Uganda Family TV. It is a blessing to be here. Wow. And the listener and the viewer out there, it is great that you have joined us and join us once and for all. Okay. Don't wither. Hey.
They shouldn't touch the remote.
No, they shouldn't.
Okay. Very interesting. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Patrick. Yes, before we even dive into the day of on June, before we go that far. Yeah. What is the role of the ministry in creating equity amongst the persons with disabilities out there?
Thank you so much. The listener and the viewer out there would be interested in knowing the ministry, how the vulnerable groups are under the Ministry of Gender. And when we're talking about the vulnerable groups, we are looking at persons with disabilities, older persons, the women, children, the youths, all those in social development. Okay. And for social development, we want to make sure, or we intend to make sure that there is equity among all the vulnerable groups in this country. And what we start with is policy formulation and the laws. Okay. We have a policy for persons with disabilities. This is a framework which outlines all that is required, talking about the rights of persons with disabilities. And if we are talking about the rights of persons with disabilities, persons with albinism are part of persons with disabilities. Okay. Originally, and the society there, some other people imagine that persons with albinism, they don't have a disability. But Olive will be telling us the history and the biology surrounding persons with albinism. After government listening to persons with albinism, we categorize them as a group of persons living with disability. And if after the policy, we also looked at the law, that is the Disability Act 2020, which categorically codes albinism as a type of disability. So what we are talking about as role is to make sure that policy issues and laws are in place for equity. We also talk about mainstreaming. For us, we make sure that issues of disability are integrated in the national planning. If, for instance, currently we've been handling the National Development Plan 4, And we made sure that all issues of person with disabilities are integrated in the national plan form. So when we are planning at every sector, we must make sure that issues of disability are part. That is including persons with albinism. We talk about mainstreaming, advocacy. Ministry of Gender is a main actor in advocacy. Not only in Uganda, but at international level. Olive will tell you that just of recent, she's from Germany, talking about the conference was on issues of disability.
Wow.
And it is through the advocacy of government and Ministry of Gender that persons with disabilities are recognized in Uganda. You know, we have the Global Disability Commitment, and these commitments are put in place by government. That is, we are going to do this, to do this, to do this, so that at the international community recognizes what we are doing in the area of persons with disabilities. So all those are in regard to equity for persons with disabilities. We shall be talking about accessibility to education, to information. In fact, I'm defaulting this television. We are supposed to have someone with a sign language so that whatever I'm saying, even persons with disabilities, the deaf, are getting it. So if you have witnessed on other televisions, I think we shall talk on this one. We have the sign language interpreters. That is, it was government's initiative to make sure that whatever information is accessed to by persons with disabilities. That's why we have Braille for the blind, and then we have the sign language for the deaf. So all that is equity. We try as much as possible to bring all persons with disabilities on board. We have talked about education. The Ministry of Education is coming up with a special needs education, and the policy is in place. It is about to be launched. All that is to make sure that persons with disabilities access to information, education, and infrastructure. That is among the few that we can talk about as now.
Wow, that's interesting. And I'm going to Olivia. And when we talk about equity, this also calls for how recognized we are currently. If you're to draw a comparison back in the years and now, what is our stand now when it comes to equity with the persons with disability, majorly the umbrella you're representing?
Thank you so much, Luke. And indeed, it's been a journey. As you may know, and I always take this to educate the masses, persons with albinism are full human beings. I emphasize that because in some samples, it's not that obvious. Because we are full human beings, yet look a little different from our parents, our siblings and peers, there are questions about that. So I begin with defining what albinism is. So albinism is a genetic condition that is inherited from both parents. Both mom and dad must carry that gene to have Olive. So both have to have the albinism gene. It is not caused by anything else. We have so many myths. We have lots of misconceptions about this condition. Coming from many years, and I want to pride in the UN in 2014 did a declaration that June 13th would be International Albinism Awareness Day. It came at a point where we really needed equity for us as persons with albinism, but coming back to Uganda as a country, but also globally. By the time UN came to that, and especially Africa, our continent, lots of violations of human rights had taken place. Of course, there are some countries that do not want to talk about it, but that's our history. Tanzania was on the radar with a very high killings of people with albinism because there are many myths around it. So when the UN declared that day, it became official. I, for one, and the umbrella that I represent, for me, that was the wind that birthed Albinism Umbrella. Looking at equity, here we were in a country where the laws and the Constitution of Uganda recognizes us, as in all should not be discriminated on gender, color, and all that. But even when the constitution would say that, there was a big gap. When it came to planning, Patrick has talked about the National Development Plan 4. We were never there. When we're talking about people with disabilities, and many times they say when you name, then you are bound to leave out others. So it was the blind, the deaf, and maybe the physical. And others.
Oh.
So as people with albinism, no government on this planet can plan for others, right? So it was a journey of seeking for equity, recognition, that we walked and until 2020, when the People with Disability Act recognized albinism as a disability. And why did it come to that? Patrick alluded to this, is you look at Olive and maybe in your definition of disability, she is not disabled, you know? She can see, though visually, low vision. What does this condition come with? It comes with two major challenges. Because my skin is rather lacks melanin, that black pigment that you have. And I tell ladies out there that if you knew, you wouldn't actually use any skin lightening on yourself, because you are killing that God-given pigment to protect you. I do not have it. However much the brain is told when I'm under the sun to protect me, there is no pigment. So that comes with challenges of sun exposure, which leads to skin cancer. Then two, because again I don't have that black pigment that you have in the skin, the eyes and the hair, my vision is bad. Even when I have these contact lenses, it doesn't take away that. And when looking at the definition of disability, a permanent condition, right?
Yes.
It's not temporal.
It is permanent.
Someone has
Permanent
got pressure
condition.
and they're saying I'm disabled. No, perhaps it can be cured. So for me, even these are just aids to help me navigate. So those qualifications make us people with disability. And I also talk to my friends with albinism to embrace this. Because one, if we are seeking for equity, we're seeking for recognition, and you don't want to associate with any group, then no government will plan for you. So it's in our best interest that we are called people with disability because of those few challenges that we have. There may be few, but grave. Yeah.
Wow, very interesting there. And now as we head into this celebration, maybe I'll go back to Patrick.
Yes, please.
What do you think is the essence of this day?
We need to, the public out there, the community, to appreciate, for instance, what Olivia said, that persons with albinism are like any other person. So we are creating awareness.
Okay.
We want the community to know that what I can do, Olive can do it. In fact, on that day, we are going to have doctors living with albinism. We want the community to see that this doctor with albinism can inject someone, can treat someone. And on that day, we want to interact with the community so that people can touch Olive, to know that Olive is like any other person,
Yes.
not from heaven. You know, the myths she was talking about, some other people imagine that Olive will not die. Those are the myths that the community have. They don't know where the albinism people go. And even others say that they just come from heaven and pop on earth. So we need to appreciate, on that day we are raising awareness. The major objective is raising awareness to the community of what albinism is, what condition, and what can we do to mitigate the conditions that they go through. She has talked about the skin, she has talked about the vision, but as policymakers, Minister of Health, Minister of Education, Minister of Gender, and any other agency, what should we do to make sure that persons with albinism live life within like any other person. So as we commemorate, as we are together on the 13th, we want to open up to the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. Now, Olivia, before you break down the theme for us, I'm interested in knowing how you've been able to counteract the challenges that come along with the myths, how the public takes you. How have you been able, and also the people living in the same state, how have they been able to maneuver through such challenges?
Thank you, Luke. And again, I'll look at the challenge and how we've tried to overcome. So one, the biggest challenge is stigma. To begin with, it is the biggest challenge that we have. Because we know today that when a person has a disability, and let's say it's a barrier, when it is removed, then I'm free.
Yes.
Okay? If I have a wheelchair and there is a ramp, I can move, right? If I need a white cane, that's fine. Now for me, I will call our challenges broadly in two, as in mindset and logistical. Mindset is where the stigma, the discrimination, the name calling, you know, all sorts of things. Because of ignorance, like Patrick has said, we really want to create awareness that Olive is a full human being who has red blood like you. When we talk of human being, all the little biology we did in primary 4, whatever, they live, they die, they breathe, everything else, they reproduce. So there are so many myths that for us, we have tried to create a lot of awareness of, today, look, you're on TV, I want to tell you the little that we can do in this short time, that you be an ambassador. And for me, I just look out for, please be an ambassador. Tell the next. We are Africans, we are storytelling, and you know, we've passed on a lot. So we have tried to do, to eliminate stigma by ourselves going out to tell the rest.
Okay.
By also doing the very things that the community thinks we cannot do. And I also talk to parents out there of children with albinism who think these are like very delicate children, they should not do ABCD. I'm like, no, just protect this child, let them do everything else that any other person does. Then the challenge again of looking at the skin, it's very unfortunate, and anybody watching us there, I really speak with a deep heart about the deaths we have in the albinism community. 80% of us are dying due to skin cancer, yet it is very preventable. Preventable how? We are in Uganda, we are on the equator, the sun is out almost throughout the year, and that is our greatest enemy. If we know that right from 1 year, if I should say, or months anyway, that do not expose your child to that sun of especially midday to 4. That is when the UV rays are so strong and they damage our skin. Okay. I'm not saying keep these children under the house, no. Because we also need the vitamin D, right? Yes. But that exposure and continued exposure has brought a lot of skin cancer. Someone is in the farm, they are digging, and it eats you slowly. By the time many of us go to hospital, it is bad. So that we have used sunscreens to mitigate, because we need to work, you know. So, but those creams are very expensive, and we'll come to that. And these are some of the things that we really look out for. How do we mitigate this? Albinism Umbrella is pledged to have a consignment every year, a donation. We are moving somewhere. But even when we have them, reaching them to the last mile person in Kapchora, in Alebtong, in Kavale, you know, it is hard. It is a challenge. You know, it is a big challenge. That is why we are calling upon all stakeholders, whoever, even the bus transporters. I mean, we have contacts throughout this country. So we want to mitigate the skin cancers by using protection, dispelling the ignorance, using the clothing that we can have, the wide-brimmed hats, like our president, you know, that which covers the ears. Yes, it's not only for swag. It's for more protection. Okay, we need to use sunglasses. These are contacts, and for me, I'm lucky that I've gone to Mengo, kudos to Mengo Hospital, where I can use one pair. When I'm in the sun, it will turn dark. Okay. But for any person out there who has a child with albinism, I mean, this spare on the streets can be even 5,000 to just reduce that light intensity. I'm sure you've seen some of us and
Yeah.
we are squinting,
True.
you're trying to focus. Those are small things that we can do. You could be a neighbor, help someone to cross the road. We've lost others being hit because they didn't see, So for us, those challenges, it is awareness, it's telling parents, it's calling on many stakeholders, collaborators, whoever it is. It could be a pedestrian, a borderman. Those borders are a big community.
Yeah.
They can pass on a lot of information, and even the name calling. There is a lot of awareness about mental wellness, and this is some of the things that we were not looking at as deeply touching. But you imagine a child who has been told you are not worth, whose parents separated because she or he was born, and they get to know. So do you imagine the torture that they live with, raised by either grandparents or an auntie or any well-wisher? So the name calling, that discrimination, and we tell parents, please embrace us as full human beings, as your own children, because charity begins at home.
Yeah, that's
this
right.
is family TV. When we are loved at family level, we can sort to the best we can be.
Wow, very interesting. Thank you so much. And you had talked about the National Action Plan.
Yes.
Is there a need to extend it? And what is your stand as government or as the ministry in that regard?
The national policy.
Yeah, the national policy.
Extending it to, this policy was revised in 2024. We had a policy, disability policy 2009, and it was revised 2024.
Okay.
Why it was revised? It is because of issues that we are coming on board. That originally issues of albinism were not in the policy that was crafted in 2009.
Okay.
So by us bringing on board the albinism, persons with the albinism, we had to review the policy. Okay. Extending it, it is a new policy. It is a newly revised policy. What we are doing currently is disseminating it. We are disseminating it to different organizations, and we are proud of the Family TV, which has given us this opportunity. That she has talked about the family as the initial, the core aspect of appreciating persons with albinism. So we are calling upon all segments of the community, of societies, church. By the way, the moment you get to the church, you'll be done. So when we're here with the Church of Uganda, we as government, we have written to the different churches to appreciate the day, to appreciate, and if there is anything to talk about albinism, you'll be heard. Believe me, look, if you went to the street, no one will recognize that you're passing. But should a reverend pass, people will say, Reverend, we are Iseo. So these are the things that we want. If the reverend talks about issues of albinism, we shall be disminifying what communities have. I was sharing with Olive when I was in Amudat. I wanted to talk to a boy who is with albinism. Unfortunately, I didn't find him that evening, so I made an appointment in the morning. In the morning, when I went to the home where he was, they had shifted.
Wow.
They thought we were looking for them, either to sacrifice.
Unfortunately.
Yes, so that is the demystification that we want. Everybody to be aware. And this policy, if disseminated across the country, across all segments, we are likely to be there.
Okay.
And as we commemorate this year, this year is unique, that Olive will be telling you that we have different organizations, different groups of persons with albinism, but this year we have joined. It is a joint commemoration because issues affecting the albinism umbrella, it is the same, there are the same conditions affecting Sunupa of Jinja, the same affecting the one in Imbale. So we have a joint commemoration so that people out there know that what is in Wakiso, it is the same thing in Jinja, it is the same thing in so that we join the voice. Wow. So all churches, we are calling upon all churches or mosques to join us as we appreciate and disseminate the policy for all persons. Not only the policy, but the albinism umbrella. So the albinism umbrella, where she comes, we have a strategic plan. So this strategic plan involves everybody of us. Luke and my sister will appreciate that we are part of that. We have a role to make sure that the albinism, people with albinism, be with it like any other person.
Wow, very interesting. And now we are going to go in for a very short break, and when we return, we shall be entirely discussing about how the day is going to be, the commemoration and all that, what it takes, but also breaking down the theme to understand the initial celebration.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, we're going for a very short break and we return.
Issues at hand. Issues at hand.
Oh yes, welcome back and thank you for keeping it to Charter Uganda Family TV. And today is a special one. We are talking about inclusivity But also, majorly, we're talking about the International Awareness Day of Albinism coming up on June 13th. And it is a pleasure that I'm having the very rightful people to discuss this. And now we're going to straight away go into the discussion about the theme itself, what the theme could be, and Olivia, you're going to take us through this, then we see how to proceed. What is the theme and what is its purpose? What does it represent or reflect on?
Great. Thank you so much, Luke. I want to also remind our viewers and listeners that the very first International Albinism Day that was held was 2015. Being 2025, the little math can say 10 years, but we can say 11. But we choose to also celebrate a full decade. So each year we have themes. And why do we look at these themes? Because I remember those days, one of the themes that really resonated with me is making stigma a faint memory. You know? And you are saying it has been so much, but can it be a faint memory that it's gone? Okay. In this decade, what have we achieved? This year's theme is demanding our rights, you know, protecting our skin, but thereby saving lives. Skin is so important, like I alluded to the fact about the skin cancers. So we are looking at the rights, and it is a whole package. Being in the Ministry of Gender, you know what the rights are. One of the big rights that we demand today is the right to life. Okay. Which may be taken for granted, you know. We can demand all other things, but for us, the right to life is even compromised. I will not be shy. We are preparing for elections. We have those myths that our own people with albinism, they feel that our body parts can bring riches, can bring success, then this candidate will succeed. We cannot shy away from that. So I'm calling upon our people with albinism to be vigilant. Yes, and then two, knowing that our borders are porous, Tanzania, Malawi, and all this. Sorry to digress, but demystifying the issues of rights, life is very important. The right to health, right to education, right to family, you know, as broad as it can be. We want to belong to families, we want to have our own families. So demanding our rights is a big statement today we are talking about as a theme. Protecting our skin has also been amplified because of how great it is. Today the globe is talking about climate change. We know what that does. I mean, there are two extremes, the flooding and all this, but the too much heat. For us, it is a direct issue. So we are saying, as we demand our rights in this year, we want to protect our skins. Protection will come from even just a passerby saying, hey, use this hat, use this cream. Can you put on, I wish we could, I'm not saying we should also dress like the Muslims, no. But protect your skin as much as possible. And thereby, you will be protecting a life. So the theme is talking about demanding our rights, as I've expounded, protecting our skin, because we are losing so many of us. And it is, I'll tell you, it's disturbing. As I began this journey, I've been in the fraternity for maybe 15 years. Reading all that there is, and I believe in information. Because there is a lot of ignorance, I don't want to be ignorant about my own condition. And when I read, they were like, when you have had a lot of sun exposure, by 18 years, you are likely to develop skin cancer. You know, this is as someone grown up, now you're an adult. What is disturbing today, I have children that we have lost 10 years, 11 years to skin cancer. So we are not safe. The globe is changing, environment is changing. I don't know if it is our lifestyles. So that skin issue is so important. I don't want to really get into detail, but that is why we go to Uganda Cancer Institute. If you walked in that institute, looking at our people, I don't want to say, but you can imagine what is there. So our theme today is protect your skin, demand your right. And it begins from you, the person today with albinism, because you cannot demand what you don't know. You know, so first of all, even as we are saying, demanding our rights, there are things of stigma, but there is also self-stigma, where you feel or they have told you so much bad that you believe them. your mental well-being. As you demand rights, get yourself to appreciate who you are and then demand to be recognized.
Okay. Wow. Mr. Patrick, during these commemoration as we head to June, where does the ministry come in? Are you bringing the bags of money in the celebration? Or where do you come in from?
Thank you. I didn't tell you at the beginning. So I did. I told you that there was joint commemorations, and government saw that having a joint commemoration is the best solution.
Okay.
So what the government has done, and especially Ministry of Gender, is bringing all the organizations, all the units of persons with albinism together.
Okay.
And I'm proud to say that I've been chairing these meetings.
Oh, wow.
All the organizations come to office. In fact, even another meeting, if you join Luke, you can come and join us on Friday. We have organizations, different organizations sitting together. So but that means putting the voice together. We should not put, someone should not shout from Mbale, one should not shout from Wakiso, but putting together the what? the voices. So uniting the person with albinism, it has been a very great effort for us. Then the other bit that government is doing, if we are talking about their disabilities, for instance, she has talked about the sight. So we have worked with the UNEB, people who are sitting UNEB, that we can't expose these persons with albinism to the same paper. It is the same paper, but the timing. So we have asked UNEB, people with albinism should be given more 30 minutes in a paper.
Okay.
So that for equity, if you are going to mark a paper of a person who has sat for 30 minutes, for 1 hour with sight impairment, then you can't expose the same person to. So what we as a government, we have asked UNEB to give more time.
Okay.
Large font.
And?
Large font.
Yeah, the large font. You know, you may not know why she's not reading the paper, because she knows the things, but it requires large font. So the papers, if you went to UNEB, when children are sitting for either PLE, UNEB or USE, their papers are different.
Okay.
Then the other thing government has done is economic empowerment. You know, this economic empowerment is for all persons with disabilities. Government has put in place the National Special Grant for Persons with Disabilities, where persons with disabilities are forming themselves into a group of 5 to 10, and government is giving them capital of 5 million. And persons with disabilities, so the persons with albinism have benefited from this. According to the records, around 500 persons with disabilities with albinism have benefited in this. So what we want is persons with albinism to employ themselves. Because one of the issues that you will appreciate is that few persons with albinism are in formal employment. She ran away from there. But very few, you can take statistics. Very few. So if we want to maintain them, for them to have some money, to remain in the money economy, is by them having some money on them. So that money is there. And I'm proud now that I'm a champion in the area of albinism. And whatever every district I go to, I want to see a group of a person with albinism. The other time I was in a Bugweri district, they were telling me, you know, we have fewer persons with disabilities. Then I was asking, can I see a group of persons with disability with albinism forming a group? They was like, you mean they're also persons with disabilities?
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, across the country, people are imagining people with albinism are not persons with disabilities.
Wow.
So we, in this effort, as we commemorate, I've talked about the joint preparations. I've talked about the economic empowerment. Then we are working with the Mukono, because these celebrations are going to be in Mukono.
Okay.
Mukono local government is hosting us. And it is an effort, it is a bargain, Minister of Gender and Mukono district local government.
Okay.
It is government that is fronting its face in Mukono, not albinism. So government is working with Mukono to make sure that they host that day. Even the government is going to preside over that function to make sure that there is that integration between government, persons with albinism doing the same thing. And we're expecting the Right Honorable Prime Minister, the second Right Honorable Prime Minister, Kadaga.
Okay.
She's the third. Anyway, but Rebecca Kadaga, we're expecting her. So we have all this. Government is trying to bring everybody of us on board. And in dissemination, I want to tell you that our being here, it is because the government came and requested for airtime.
Yeah, that's right.
So that we can talk about issues of albinism. So government working with albinism, we are working as a team.
Okay.
So that is the little that I can say.
Wow.
Even for the health camp, the government will be there working with the Minister of Health, Mulago Hospital, Referral Hospital, then Mukono General Hospital. We want everybody to be there to make sure that persons with albinism are recognized and seen.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, now as we commemorate, Olivia, what is your call out there, your call to action out there as we commemorate this day this year?
This year, my call to action, and yes, I really want to retaliate what Patrick has said. We shall be at Mukono district headquarters. We're calling upon the whole district to begin with of Mukono. What we are doing on that day, it is for international, it is a day for persons with albinism, but we are going to be in the community. We are going to have a medical camp for all people, of course with emphasis for our people. But when you are saying medical camp, it is open. So all the residents of Mukono are welcome. My call is to you, the last mile person, or the resident of Mukono. Sorry for the dignitaries if I have put you solo. Whoever it is in Mukono, embrace our day, know about albinism, and pass on the truth. The truth about albinism, not myths. There are so many. Interestingly, the UN Human Rights, before it left, there was a research about the myths associated with albinism.
Okay.
And it came out that every tribe in this country has a myth. Every tribe. So you can imagine 52 myths about albinism. You're like, oh my God. So we are calling on the general public to embrace albinism. We'll be cleaning some of the markets. We'll do...
so there are pre-activities.
Pre-activities. We'll donate blood.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and we do this every International Albinism Day. Why? Some people think we have different blood. So if you see me donate blood, and whoever is there, I mean the National Blood Bank, they do human blood, right? So we want to do these activities to really get to you and say we are together. We are one, we are a family. My call I'll be specific, to the Ministry of Health. To the Ministry of Health, please include sunscreens on your essential drug list, or give to us as assistive devices. You know, it's a whole process. They've just revised that list, and I know we missed, but we are saying we can get other ways so that the government can supply these essential drugs. They're like ARVs, you know? And we are not as many, sorry, and I'm not doing stigma. There are more people with HIV than persons with albinism. So if the government can provide ARVs to persons living with HIV, we're not so many. Wubos gave us a number of 78,000 persons with albinism. Surely the government can do that, right? Ministry of Education, that inclusive policy, we really need it. But also, we ask, thank God UNEB is already compliant. But you know, I'll let you we are in, of course, every year there are national exams. UNEB is progressive in digitalizing every system. Back then, we would have letters written to them with the candidates. Albinism Umbrella would really spearhead looking at every candidate in the district. Today they have a portal. But it depends on the schools. I have a son in one of the schools in Wakiso who is sitting P7. And they know I'm an advocate for that. He has albinism. But it took a lot of effort to register that child as a special need. So I'm calling upon the teachers, especially head teachers, when you have a child with a learner with albinism, please don't wait for the parent to ask for whatever medical. I mean, albinism is sin, you know, but as if the paper is requesting for medical letter. Which medical letter are you asking to prove that I have the gene or what? So we're asking the teachers register learners with albinism. The form is there, but some teachers or head teachers are negligent on that, and will be firm that please let our learners be given a chance to have large font, to have extra time for those who need. I mean, education is key to everything. So for me, that is very, very important. To our legislators, please come down to demystify some of those jargons to us. I want to be on record today. I don't know how many people know that there is Anti-Human Sacrifice Act in Uganda. There was a Witchcraft Act 1966, which has now translated into the Anti-Human Sacrifice Act. Not many of us know. Thank God campaigns are here. Can you tell this to your constituencies, to those people out there as you go and say, hey, the police need to know to protect us. When those days when we would go to police and somebody wants a piece of your hair, police would be like, now which can I charge you? They don't know. So we are telling you, please, let's seek information. This information is there. The laws are there. Parliament has passed them. We thank you. But then they're not known.
They're not disseminated.
They're not disseminated. So you are members of parliament. You, the local leader, the parish chiefs. Kudos to our parish chief in Mukono, a person with albinism. Yes, and these are the pushing that we are saying, hey, we want to be seen, we want to be heard. We are in electing and all this. We have candidates with albinism. Support us. So you have a role. Each person here, my call to action is, you have a role. You are meeting a person with albinism on the street. Don't shout their name or naming them whatever you want. You can say, hey, how are you? What's your name? It's only polite. Ugandans were supposed to be warm. I don't know where those good manners at times fly, but I'm calling upon the entire public. You have a role to play in creating a better Uganda for us.
Wow, thank you so much. I see time has really run very fast, Mr. Patrick. In just a few seconds, if you could give us your last remarks.
Thank you, Luke. My last remark is calling upon the community, especially where we're going to be in Mukono, the Chief Administrative Officer, the Community Service Department, the the Department of Health, the DHO's office. Let us be together to see that this good day goes off. And it should not only end here. If we are talking about the rights of persons with albinism, the rights are not ending on the 13th. The rights of these people continue like any other life like mine. So my call is let us look for persons with albinism. Let us take them as human beings. We shouldn't discriminate them. We should demystify the aspect that persons with this albinism, they bring riches. No, they are like you, they are like me. So please, colleagues, my countrymen and women, let us join to preserve and protect the rights of persons with albinism in Uganda and across the border. I crossed to Kenya, but it is bad. Bad. In regard to albinism. So when we're talking about, as we protect Ugandans, albinism in Uganda, we should even cross to Kenya. This is the East African community, Tanzania. So that if Olive goes to Tanzania, she's safe. If goes to Rwanda, she's safe. So it is not only Uganda, but across the border countries. We thank you, Luke. We thank you, the Family TV. It has been a pleasure being here, talking about a pertinent issue on albinism and personal disabilities.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you so much, Olive, for this interesting submission. So you and I understand that we have a crucial role in making sure that there's equity amongst our societies and communities out there. Do not wait for the ministry, do not wait for the umbrella to come and speak to you, yet you have the information already just here by tuning in. We want to appreciate you for joining us this morning. We cannot go past this. We still have a number of discussions coming up. Please stay on for the Uganda We Want program. Edwin Austin Mkalas is coming up. My name is Luke Majumba. Have a lovely day.
Issues at Hand